Hi guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson. We're talking about your first contest, and specifically today about the check-in, what to expect at competitors meetings, check-ins, all of those things. So most promoters, of course, we've talked about this through the series, have an information packet and a schedule, and I've already advised you to make sure you're printing that thing out, going over it multiple times, highlighting things, maybe even writing out your own flow of what you need to do. But let's talk about that check-in meeting. What happens there, Adam, when you're walking in there for the first time? What can a competitor expect?
Yeah, so check-ins can sometimes be the day before the show or the morning of, so that's something always to pay attention to. But at this point, you've usually already sent your entry in, and you're just checking in to make sure, one, that you're signed up for all the divisions and classes that you need to. If you're in men's physique or women's bikini, you're going to get measured by your height. Classic physique is going to be height and weight. And then with women's physique, it's going to be height. With men's bodybuilding, it's going to be by weight. So they basically check to make sure you fall into the right categories. So as a bodybuilder, check-ins tend to be almost more paramount for bodybuilders who are, making weight, maybe keeping water a little low just to make sure that they do make the appropriate contest weight that they want to compete at. With women, a lot of times your height shouldn't change from the moment of entry into the day of the show. So you pretty much usually have an idea. They might be a quarter of an inch off here and there, but it's usually pretty standard. We know where you're going to end up.
And, and there is a little variability to that, though. I agree, your height shouldn't change, but the way you measure it versus somebody else could. And so I just went over this with a client recently who said, well, here it's only by 2-inch increments, and I'm kind of right on that line. So where are they going to put me? And I said, well, we don't know. You got to be ready for both. And it may or may not matter. Sometimes it actually does. But you're right that you have to put this down accurately, so at least there are no surprises or as few surprises as possible with them trying to move people in the right direction. But weigh-ins. For a new competitor, you may be really surprised that your scale versus their scale can be quite different, or you're used to weighing yourself in the morning and now you've got to weigh in at 5 in the afternoon. So you got to really anticipate that, especially if you're close to a cutoff that you want to make, and you may end up, needing to withhold a little water or food or something like that, or, all kinds of things can happen. But I have seen people get thrown into a weight class they were not expecting, and the outcome was not at all what they wanted. So that's something to factor in. You're also going to get your numbers. At a check-in, they're going to kind of herd you through a process probably where this person takes your entry or whatever you need, or gives you a wristband, for your coaching pass, or all kinds of administrative things like that. But then you're going to be getting a number. And what we're going to talk about in the next episode is you're probably going to also have a competitors meeting. And sometimes those are at the same time, or maybe check-in is all day long on a certain day, and then the meeting is on another day. But what else happens at that check-in that you have to be ready for? Do you need to bring money? Do you need to bring your ID card for the organization? What do you have to have on hand, Adam?
Yeah, always make sure you have your ID, extra cash in case you decide to cross over into another division. Also, sometimes competitor numbers are given out the next day, so just paying attention on, if you don't have a number, definitely ask and say, hey, I didn't get a competitor number yet. Is that happening tomorrow? Other than that, it's pretty standard. Maybe getting backstage passes just along with the number. Sometimes even if you look tan, they won't let you backstage unless you have like a lanyard that they give you at check-in. So that's something to really make sure that you have so you can get back there to compete.
And speaking of money, sometimes they have some gear there. So if you want to, buy a t-shirt, sweatshirt, things like that, they may have that for the particular show. Another thing is, if you're in a drug-free organization, your polygraph test, your analysis might be at that same time where, of course that's going to be scheduled ahead of time, but you may be doing that at the same time. You know when you're scheduled for that, and so you go and do your check-in there. So again, just make sure you're watching the schedule, make sure you're at the right places at the right time. But stay with us, because in the next episode, we're going to talk about the competitor meeting and what to expect there. So we'll catch you that time.